it is actually due to the diligent testing in South Africa that has enabled us to pick the new variant, and we've picked it early, so which means we will be better able to address and control the spread. We then just need to manage how we send this information out to the people for them to not be too concerned.
Dr. Portia Mutebetsi is one of South Africa's leading epidemiologists. She heads up a team tasked with monitoring the emergence of new COVID-19 variants.
I felt proud to be South African because it showed that our lab diagnostics are really up to speed. They're really at the level that you see in the developed world. None of that was really put in the forefront in terms of celebrating the achievements that South Africa had in actually detecting this virus.
Looking at the reaction that South Africa got, is there a world where maybe it would have been better that you didn't say anything?
It's interesting that you ask that question, and we've been getting it a lot within the community, that wouldn't have been better for you to keep quiet. But I'm going to take you back to the onset of this pandemic. China in Wuhan discovered this virus, and for a good 3 weeks, they did not announce publicly that, we are seeing a new virus. By that time, the infections had spread, people were still flying, people were still visiting other countries. So what would have happened if we hadn't said that we've discovered this Omicron variant? It would have spread. And at the end of the day, we would have lost more lives. So in as much as we had a huge backlash in terms of the new variant, what we did was actually noble.
More than 30 countries, including the US, have issued travel bans against countries in southern Africa, even though the Omicron variant has already been detected around the world. The World Health Organization warned against blanket travel bans based on politics and not science.
With a virus that is truly borderless, travel restrictions that isolate any one country or region are not only deeply unfair and punitive, they are ineffective.
The same Western nations now closing their borders are partly to blame for the emergence of the new variant. Vaccine hoarding delayed the rollout of vaccines in South Africa by at least 6 months, creating an environment for new mutations to emerge.
They ordered more vaccines than their populations required. And when we wanted vaccines, they just kept, giving us the crumbs from their table.
As booster shot programs ramp up elsewhere, only 7.5% of people in Africa are fully vaccinated. And South Africa is actually ahead of the curve. Just over 25% of South Africans are fully vaccinated, and health authorities say they finally have a full supply of vaccines. Just not enough people who want them.
Hello?
We sat in on a meeting with COVID skeptics, all of whom are refusing the vaccine. My understanding is that all of you here, one common thing that has gotten you together is that you actually don't believe that the COVID-19 virus is real.
Well, I would put it slightly differently, if I may, that we believe that no proof has been put to us to the existence of the virus. We are saying that those who have claimed that the virus exists has not provided us any proof of such at the moment.
We need your help. We want...
South African anti-vaxxer groups are small, but they're loud. And this group has filed a court case against the government, demanding proof of the virus.
By virtue of us being African, do you understand? The idea of of governments exploiting us and the idea of the governments conspiring against us, it's not a strange thing. We have gone in this country to apartheid, where the government was conspiring against the people.
Yes.
And you must remember, and scientists, during apartheid, scientists were conspiring against the people. So what I'm saying is, we as Africans, that's why there is so reluctance for us to take this vaccine here.
The purpose of people being vaccinated now is not to stop any virus. That's a lie. It's to make your body a battery. And this battery is going to charge the chips that they are going to chip you with.
If the vaccines were manufactured right here on this beautiful continent of Africa, what would be your reaction be?
From my perspective, I'm not anti-vax. I don't think anybody is anti-vax. Generally, a vaccination takes between 10 and 15 years to produce. It starts off with experiments on rats or rodents. The issue
You want
here
to see
is that
observe.
firstly, this process has been
To observe.
sidestepped.
What would have been the best
You-
way to deal with this pandemic?
Science.
If I were
to
the
observe.
person in charge, I would not do anything that this government did. Zero.
What would you do?
What I would have done is I would have allowed people to live their lives as normal.
Health experts here say that lack of faith in the government has contributed to vaccine hesitancy. But many here believe in science and in South Africa's potential.
That is one of the positive things that's come out of this pandemic, is that it's shown us that if we want to have something and get something done, we need to do it ourselves.
Afrigen Biologics and Vaccines is the first company in Africa designated by the World Health Organization as a technology transfer hub, a kind of test pilot aimed at proving that vaccines can be both developed and manufactured in Africa, rather than coming from abroad.
What we're driving towards is to be able to not have to rely on the UK or the US. We want to be able to have that capacity and have that capability. And we as a continent, I believe we have that research know-how.
How does the process work of tweaking like an existing mRNA vaccine to deal with the new variant, in this case with Omicron?
That's the great thing about mRNA vaccines, is that tweaking it doesn't take a lot of time. And the only thing that you need really is the sequence of the Omicron variant. And once that spike protein sequence has been confirmed, you can just put it straight into your process and develop an mRNA vaccine directly for the Omicron variant.
How important is it that the African continent is able to manufacture their own vaccines?
It is very important, and it doesn't just have to do with pandemics, because we will be having pandemics, more of them in the future. So for diseases such as HIV, Ebola, malaria, that are mainly impacting Africa, that is where we want to then take this and drive it, because we want to be able to make vaccines that are specific for the African continent.